Good morning, everybody. How are you? I am coming to you from the beach today. We are camping this week, so if you hear the waves lapping, they're literally just over there. It's beautiful here. We're in Sligo, in a place called the Beach Bar Hut, and it is just so gorgeous here. I have had all my client sessions from here this week, and it's just incredible. Like, the view is stunning. The weather is kind of hit and miss, but you're going to get that around Ireland. But it's just amazing to be able to do it. So, I know we've got more new people to the group this week. So, hi guys. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Joanne O'Halloran. I'm a business success coach for female entrepreneurs who want to build momentum in their business and have consistent clients. I'm all about the business foundations and what you do to make sure that you have a sustainable business, because there's a lot of quick fixes out there, and quick fixes are great when you're at a particular level in business, but if you're in the first 3 years, you need to have your foundations really established so that you can continue to have a sustainable business. So the key focus areas are building your audience, knowing what your audience needs, get your messaging right, and then creating offers that sell. And you rinse and repeat that. So we're going to have a look at today the reasons people don't buy from you. So rather than focusing on the reasons people do buy from you, I want you to focus on the reasons why people don't, because everything in business is feedback. So if people do buy from you, that's feedback. If people don't buy from you, that's feedback, and everything in between. But it's great to be able to get feedback in business and to be able to understand and to read the feedback, so that you can change your approach going forward and change what you're doing, change it so that it does work. And that's not to say that every time that something doesn't land with somebody, or your offer or your sales period hasn't reached the potential that you want it to. It may be something inside of you that you need to connect with, because if you don't match your energy with what you're selling, it doesn't work. So let's have a look at the four main reasons why people don't buy from you. So if this is your first time joining the Elevate Your Business conversation, you're very welcome. But also, this just gets to be very direct and very clear and very actionable things that you can take away from this, rather than it being a lot of fluff. So I'm going to give you the four main reasons that people don't buy from you. And it's really important that you know these and that you take stock of these, and you course correct with them each time. So the first one, I'm going to start with something that's really obvious, but it's just incredible how many people do this. You don't ask. You're not asking for sales. So with my clients, we never sell all the time, because I don't agree with being in sales mode all the time, unless of course you've got a product that's different. But I do think that you should have different seasons in your business. So one would be audience generation, another would be nurturing, and then another would be selling. So the amount of times though that I see that people don't ask, you're not asking, like if you're a coach or a consultant, are you actually asking people to buy from you, or are you just assuming that they're going to come to you? Are you putting yourself in a position where they know exactly what you do, they know exactly when you're selling and what you're selling, and then they can come to you? And most times the answer is no. Most times the answer is no. It's just there'll be a comment somewhere on a social media post like that will say book a call. That's not actually asking. That's not asking at all. That's just like dropping something there and hoping that somebody somewhere will pick it up. So it's really important that you ask. And what I mean by that is set yourself up. If you have an online business, go into a launch period. Literally go into a launch period where you're selling on a very particular topic, so that when you actually go, ooh, the doors are open, people are like, yeah, I went in, right? So definitely go into a launch like that. If you've got products, which I know a lot of people in this group do, if you have products, make sure that it's very obvious when you have sales on. So I have seen some of my clients do like a selling Saturday, where that's the day that they sell, rather than selling every day, unless you've got a brick and mortar business. But if you have a day that you do sales and that you invite people to it, then people know that you're selling. So that's number one. The second one is that you don't follow up. This is the biggest killer for people when it comes to selling. How we buy is how we sell, right? So think about how you buy. So I've shared this story so many times, and I'm going to keep sharing it. Robert's here so he can hear me, but I'm going to share the story about me and him. There was a particular thing that we were going into together as a couple to buy, right? And it was an online program thing that we're doing for an investment piece for our life. And how I buy, right, is if I've already made a decision that this is for me, I'm in, like my card is out and I'm ready to go, and I get very frustrated when they don't get to the point and take their, like, have the link there ready for me to be able to click on. Robert's very different. So like there is no follow-up needed with me because I'm either in or I'm not, right? That's just the way it is. If I'm buying, I'm buying. If I'm not, I'm not, right? Because I'm waiting. Every time I've ever bought, whether it was with my first coach, whether it was when I was signing up to be a coach, whether it was with my business coach, which I've bought multiple things from her, I was already in. Now let's get to Robert style. Robert does not buy the way I buy. Robert likes to have all the information, likes to take it away, likes to think about it, and needs to know all the steps that are involved, and then he will make a decision whether or not to buy. So think about it. If with the likes of Robert, right, take me out of the equation for what we were doing, because I was already in, therefore it was already bought, right? But say if it was just him doing that, and if there was no follow-up in terms of emails, phone calls, all of that after the event, he would have been lost. He would have not been, they would not have converted him as a sale. So know that follow-up is really, really important. Really, really important. Please don't just make an offer and then run away. Keep telling people about an offer. You should have a window of time where you have, call it like a cart open, where you have a window of time that people are able to buy this particular thing from you, and then let them know when your cart's closing. Like when are the doors going to be closed, and then that's it, you cut it off. Even if you have an evergreen program, this is still something that you get to do. You still get to have a close off date for when you're going to take people in, because it's going to be very, very difficult for you to continuously sell if you're not closing it off and giving people an opportunity to be able to buy, and if you're not following up with them afterwards. So always follow up. So the first one is people don't ask. The second one is there's no follow up. The third one is my favorite, and I drum this home with my clients all the time because it is the biggest killer for people, and it's that you make it all about you. And what I mean by that is, I always say you need to go from the inside out, right? So you always want to never make any sales conversation about you. You always make it about the person that you're selling to. And when you're making it about you, some people are going to be like, crap, that's me, right? And this was me. This is how I know. So it's that you're like, well, I feel afraid. I don't want to ask for money. I'm uncomfortable making the offer. I've already decided that they don't have the money. Like whatever the conversation is, that's making it about you, all about you. And it's a very selfish place to be in, because there's people that actually need your product or your service, and any call, conversation, whatever way you do your offers that you have, if you're not holding space for them and allowing them to actually have the transformation that either your product or your service gives, that's very selfish. But until we know that, and until we know that we're making stuff about us, we don't make the transition. Does that make sense? So you want to make sure that any conversation that you go into, whatever way you do your offer, is ground yourself first. Set the intention that I am going to give people the opportunity to have the transformation that they deserve, and here's the transformation that they're going to get. So that you take, and it also takes the pressure off you when you know it's no longer about you. So my favorite things to do about this, right? I have a 10-minute meditation. You can go to YouTube and find them, but I do a 10-minute meditation before. Well, I don't do sales calls now. I just do offers during launches. But when I used to do sales calls, I would do a 10-minute grounding beforehand, like a meditation grounding beforehand, before everything solitary sales call. So if you were ever booking a sales call with me, there was always a 15-minute gap between each one, and this was so I could ground myself going in, so that I wasn't making it about me. And I would set the intention that it was about the person that was on the other end of the call, and that it was my job to make sure that they got the transformation that they wanted. So any sales call you go into, know that your job is to get them over the line. So you want to make sure that you know what it is they're struggling with, why it hasn't happened already, and what will it mean for them when they actually have this transformation. Because that way then it's not about you, you're making it about them, so that they can see what's possible for them. And remember, no matter what it is, everything is what's possible. Like what is possible. So think about your product or your service that you have right now. What is possible with that? What is the transformation that people are going to get? And that's where you get to go from. So number 4 is you haven't actually warmed up your audience and you don't know what they need. So this is another one that's a killer. And I'm going to be honest with you, when I first started my business, sorry if I hair in my mouth, when I first started my business, the coaching advice that I got, which was horrendous, was you just go in and you go do a masterclass and bring them into your program. Worst advice I ever got. Worst advice I ever got, because it doesn't work. And let me tell you why it doesn't work. Because there's no what your audience need. So what you get to do is, whether it's a product or a service, is ask your audience what do they need, and then give them what they need. So what I mean by that is, like, I'll just take mine, right? So the Roadmap to Success challenge is on next week. So if you haven't joined, I'll put the link at the top of this video. Because I asked my audience, so I asked here in the group, and I asked my email list, and I asked on Instagram and LinkedIn, what was the biggest thing that you were struggling with in your business? The same two things came back over and over and over again: having the right audience, being able to make sales. So what have I created? I've created a challenge that shows you how to generate an audience that's ready to buy, and how do you create offers that they can't refuse. So I listened to what my audience wanted and I gave it to them. Literally, I've given it to you guys. So that challenge is on next week. So if this is something that you wanted, make sure that you get into this challenge, because that challenge is for 3 days next week and then it's done. So if I was to just pitch my business, right, just my business, and the fact that I build momentum, because people haven't said that that's what they want, I know that's what's needed. But if that's not what they want, why would I give that to them? It doesn't make any sense, right? It makes zero sense. So think about your product or your service right now. Are you asking your audience what they need? Like, what is their biggest struggle right now? And if not, go ask them and then give that to them. So like me, you guys said that audience and sales were the biggest challenges. This was like it was incredible to see it across all the platforms. It was these two things were what people needed. So that's very easy for me to create a challenge out of, and give you what you need. So make sure that you're doing the same. So the 4 things and the 4 main reasons people don't buy from you are: number 1, you don't ask; number 2, you don't follow up; number 3, you make it all about you; and number 4 is you're not giving your audience what they need. So make sure that you course correct with all of them, and you'll see it. You'll see that you start to get more traction when you get curious about these things and realize why this isn't working and where I didn't do this, and change it up so that it does work for you. So I will see you next Thursday for the next episode of Elevate Your Business, and I will drop the link here for Roadmap to Success. You need to get access to it pretty soon, because obviously we're going to be starting on Monday, and we're going to have a welcome Zoom on Sunday, where we're going to chat about it, because there's gifts and there's prizes and there's lots of fun stuff. So I will see you there. Have a great week.